Check, check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Alright, so my last video I made, it was about how to create a sigil and integrate it into your sex magic rituals to help manifest the things that you want in your life. This video is going to be about creating and using several sigils for one overall ritual. Alright, I'm gonna hit this and we can dive into it. Again, the book that I'm reading from, Adventures in Sex Magic by Damon Brand. Though this is going to be the last technique I give out from the book, because I already gave out a few, and I can't give you everything. Really, if you into this shit, then you should really purchase the book so that the author gets the money and they are able to continue to put out affordable material for us. Alright, so I digress. I'm just going to read this, and then when I'm done, we'll break it down a little bit more so that everybody can understand it and bring it all around full circle. Alright, so earlier in the book, I mentioned that you should break a goal down into its component parts and perform sex magic for each goal that contributes to the whole. To do this, you should create a master sigil and several other sigils that are related to that goal. The trick here is that you combine the traditional chaos approach with the modified approach that I have discussed. So for the smaller contributing goals, you create sigils that are abstract. At the same time, you create a master sigil that does remind you of the emotions of the goal. It could look something like this. The master sigil is in the center, and the other sigils are placed around the main image. So what he's talking about is this. Alright. Where we at? The master sigil is in the center, right here. Alright. Now, in this example, the major goal was to get a new business successfully off the ground, and it is represented by the kite-shaped image with a dot in the center. That is the master sigil that contains the feeling of the goal. There are 4 other goals on the small paper squares. One is to raise the initial money to get the business off the ground. One is to help spread the word about the business. One is to attract the support of family and friends. And one is to make the business name memorable to people. I don't know which sigil is which. There's also a 5th sigil that has a story behind it. The 5th sigil is possibly the most important. I remember when the first iPhone came out, and I immediately decided I wanted one, and I was going to quay up on the first morning to buy one. Did I do a ritual to get an iPhone? Of course not. I was so certain that I was just going to go out and buy one that I didn't bother with magic. I realized after that day, I was only ever doing magic for the things I thought were difficult to get. The iPhone was easy to get. I assumed it was coming to me, and it did. That implied that when I performed magic, there was always the sense that this was something a bit more difficult. In other words, all magic is filled with a little doubt because we're worried we won't actually receive the result we want. So a fantastically powerful way to get your magic to work is to create a sigil for something that is going to happen very easily, or even better, for something that has already happened. This should still be related to your overall goal. In the above example, the fifth sigil was for the signing of a contract related to business premises. At the time that I made the sigil, the contract hadn't been signed, but it had been written up and agreed upon verbally, and I knew it was going to be signed within days. Do not underestimate the power of this extra sigil. You may be tempted to ignore this because it's time consuming and requires magical effort, but it is one of the most effective techniques in the book. When I construct a master sigil in this way, the process then continues like this. I collect everything together as shown and leave it that way for a day or so. Then I fire each one of the smaller sigils in turn without knowing which is which. I do this in whatever way is convenient, sometimes through masturbation, sometimes through sex with a partner, and sometimes during group sex. These sigils are drawn on post-it notes, so it's easy for me to remove them, fire them magically, wipe fluids on them, and dispose of them. Eventually, you are left with one master sigil. All you have to do is fire this in a similar way. Make sure you use gratitude in the major process and keep an awareness of your goal during the sex act. By combining sigils in this way, you can move things fast and get results that last for a long time. Alright, so I know I stumbled over a few parts of that. So, all in a nutshell, what the author is saying is this. Like, you need your overall goal, right? Because most times people want to do magic for big shit, right? So say your overall goal is to open up a new restaurant. So you would create a sigil that represents your overall goal, which is to open this new restaurant. But opening up a restaurant as a full-time business takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of different things that need to line up in order for that to become reality, right? Like, you gotta have the money to do it, for one. You gotta have the resources to get people to come in and help you and work for you, right? Depending on your legal situations, you might got to get a lawyer, right? Or you got to find a building, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to find a building to be able to have the restaurant at. It's a lot of different factors that got to line up for you in order for that restaurant to be able to be manifested. So that's what the smaller sigils are about, right? You got your overall sigil for the restaurant, and then the smaller sigil will be like, this is a sigil to get some extra money to put towards the restaurant. This would be a sigil to get some help from your family and friends, because it's hard doing shit by yourself all the time, especially something big. You know what I'm saying? There might be a sigil then to get the help from family and friends to help support you as you are going on this new venture. You can make a sigil for good employees, right? To be able to get connected with some good employees, to have good health. You get the idea of it. And then he's saying the fifth sigil, make an extra fifth sigil. He's suggesting that sigil should be created for something that you know is going to happen very easily, or something that has happened. So another example of that is if you going to work every day and you know you get paid on Fridays, right? You get paid every Friday. This is something that you expect to happen, something that you know is going to happen. So what he's saying is create a sigil, right? And do a magic ritual. Do a magic ritual that to receive some money Friday. All right, because you know the check is coming, but go ahead and do the magic ritual to receive a check. You know what I'm saying? And then that manifestation comes when you go pick up your check, though you knew you was going to have it. That's a technique that he's saying in the book. The author is saying do not underestimate that technique. Do some magic, that fifth sigil, but do some magic for some shit that you also know is going to happen, because it's going to help get the magic working overall. So anyway, I'm gonna leave that at that. In there, he also mentions something about the master process ritual, which is a ritual that he discussed and gave out in the book that involves other things like angelic forces and such. So I'm not going to get into all that, but if you take the concept of this, especially if you're into sigil magic, which sigil magic is fun, take the concept of what he's saying though. Even if you ain't into the sex magic and all that, it's the concept of what he's saying. All right, and yeah, we're gonna leave it at that. Adventures in Sex Magic by Damon Brand.